We are good to go. So guys, this podcast is going to be all about really dissecting life. The fact of the matter is no matter what we do in our health and our well-being journey, life happens and everybody's is different. But you know what? Like, that's what makes it exciting. And everybody's experience is so unique. And I want to let you get to know me, get to know the pack and Alpha, get to know the brand, but also more to the point, get some takeaways that you can intersect into your lifestyle and your well-being and just get some inspiration from some absolutely fucking phenomenal people. So today I am here with Dianne and Kate.
Hello.
Dianne and Kate have been clients of mine for just about a year now and have some amazing stories to tell. So let's start with Dianne. Just introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do? And what brought you to Alpha?
My name's Dianne. I'm 56 years of age. I work full-time for civil service and I joined Alpha after Kate had joined. Kate was getting single, sort of one-to-one PT. She was raving about the workouts, the results, and then mentioned that Vanda did couples PT. So Kate and I are practically joined at the hip anyway. And I thought that'd be a really good idea. So she dragged me along to one of her sessions. You and I spoke.
Yep.
I think we hit it off right away and it just seemed as though, this is for me. And it really was a no-brainer because Kate and I were together loads of the time anyway. We already worked out together at the gym, and to do our PT together just made sense.
Absolutely.
And I signed on the dotted line there and then.
You
I've never looked back.
You did. We've never looked back. And what about you, Kate? Introduce yourself. What do you do? What brought you to Alpha in the first place?
I'm Kate. I have got a sore throat. I'm Kate. I'm 59 years of age. I am a police officer. I came to Alpha because I kept seeing you in the street, remember?
Thank you.
And people kept saying, oh, that's the girl who trained X, Y, and Z. And I thought, really? So I used to look after my mum a lot, and I passed you numerous times in South Bush Street, and I think I approached you one day, didn't I? And I didn't do anything about it, which can be a trait of mine. You know, I was thinking, oh, I'll get round to it. And I think one day I just hit and made you tell me when to come.
Yes.
And when I came to the gym, it was bloody awesome. It was a great session. I remember going away thinking, this is definitely the one for me. And we'll get to that later on when we talk about the journeys where we are. But for me, it was definitely somewhere where I kind of felt this was my gym.
Good.
Despite it being a much smaller gym than I'd ever been to before. I was used to, the big corporate rubbish. And it just seemed much more at home for me.
Yep. So what I want to touch on with you guys is just how your journeys have evolved, because both of you have gone through some really big journeys in your health and fitness, spanning really decades for both of you. Because very much like myself, you guys were quite entrenched in some really significantly different diet and exercise culture to what you're actually in right now. So what's the biggest difference for you, Dianne? What's the big changes that you see from, let's say, Dianne 10 years ago, then Dianne 5 and Dianne now?
So Dianne 10 years ago was extremely overweight, 6 stone overweight, lots and lots of health problems, to the point where, it would be coming up for 10 years now that I was told my bowel might have to come out, and it was all because of my diet, my lifestyle, the weight I was carrying. And that was a wake-up call.
Yeah.
And just the year I was 50 was the worst year ever, health-wise. And I decided there and then I had to do something. So over the course of the next sort of 18 months, I lost a huge amount of weight, hit the gym. I was never out the gym, living on ridiculously low calories. Was hangry all the time, but thought I was doing great. I was getting skinny.
And I'd also like to point out to this podcast that hangry Dianne is not a nice one.
No.
We have experienced it, and she is not a nice lady.
You don't want hangry Dianne, no. But I was permanently miserable, and I thought I was happy because I was skinny.
So were we at this point in time very much equating being smaller to just being happy?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Would rarely lift weights.
Okay.
So, and that went on for, I maintained my weight loss. I'm 56 now, so maintained it still, getting thinner and thinner and thinner, not getting stronger.
Did you feel any better?
I felt better because my health improved.
Good.
And that was a major
so regardless,
mentally,
that aspect of the journey still had its benefits.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when I started working out with Kate, met Kate through the gym, and started working out with Kate, and I realised I actually wanted more. I just didn't want to be skinny. I want muscles, and I want that. So probably when I started working with yourself, and again, even in that initial stages, I was scared of the weights. It was scary. I can't lift that. I can't, I don't do that. I go to classes, I smash cardio.
You were the absolute epitome of a class junkie.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And didn't venture into the weight side of it at all. And with your help, I've changed all that.
I mean, we're in a very different place. We still have a lot of nervousness around some of the weights though.
Yeah, I do.
And what was your old stereotype about women lifting weights?
It was like, I'll get big. I'll be this
that stereotype of like, I'm going to lift that and I'm going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger tomorrow.
Yeah. And do you know what? When you're educated, it doesn't work like that.
I fucking wish.
It doesn't work like that. And much as I would like a wee bit of that now, you've got to work bloody hard for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, this last year has really been a growth year for me mentally, in that journey.
And would you say right now it's more mental than physical right now?
Absolutely. And I'm happier than I've ever been.
Oh, yes. Right, Kate, yours is a very different journey. So, Kate 10 years ago to Kate now.
Oh, Kate 10 years ago. Kate 10 years ago was the people telling her, "Oh, you look great," because I wasn't eating. And it's easy to... I'm going to take that back. It's not easy to lose weight when you're not eating, but for me it was.
Yep. Because
people were saying, "Oh, you look great." So those ridiculously low calories, that was my, for whatever reason, punishment to myself. So.
And did you always see it as punishment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what I'd done wrong. I couldn't think of anything I'd done wrong, but being overweight for me, once I didn't appreciate that you've gained weight because you've got two beautiful children, but you just look at that yourself and you think, I am fat. Okay. I wasn't fat. I've never been fat. Yeah. But you see yourself as being fat because your body's different, completely different. I am a completely different shape to before I had my kids now.
Of course.
And so for me, I wasn't healthy despite looking healthy.
Yes, absolutely.
So there was a lot of things for me. Same with Dianne. I had a problem with colitis many years ago, and I would say, I'm just not gaining weight because of that, which was nonsense. Okay. So for me, the fatigue started to kick in.
Okay.
And you still, what gym do you go to? I'll go to this and I do that. I wasn't doing that at all. I was paying for numerous monthly payments to a gym and going and basically fanning around at the gym. I wasn't lifting weights. I was running on the treadmill.
So at that point in time, you're not eating much at all. How are you hiding that? Because obviously you're sitting down with 2 kids and a family that expect you to be eating. So.
How do you hide it?
How did you hide it?
Easy. And sometimes I don't like to go into the ins and outs of that because I'm aware that there are people out there who are still in the throes of that.
Yep, absolutely.
And, once you go for counselling, because I had a massive eating disorder, and admitting that to myself was a huge thing because I didn't have an eating disorder. I just had a high metabolism.
Oh, yes, of course.
Oh, my God, I could find a life and everything. It's a real call out,
I think, to make at this point in time to say that your counselling really was a massive groundbreaking experience for you, as you've spoken about it before. It allowed you the freedom to not make that excuse and understand yourself.
Yeah, well, it did. I'd gone to see somebody before, and this, I'll come on to this again, which was very similar to the gym, where this counsellor just said, well, you know, this is what you've got to do, and do that and do this. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And away you go, and you just, you know, did you do that last week? Yeah. And then she disappeared somewhere, and in walked a lady called Sandra Daly, and she was very much like you, but on the medical side. And she said to me that she called me out and everything. You won't be coming here unless you make sure you're doing this, and I will be checking in, I'll be making. And I remember one day saying to her I was running late and I would just not come, and she basically said, no, you will come here this morning, because if you don't come, you won't be coming back. And I knew that deep down I wanted to get better. So at that point she was saying I was in danger of osteoporosis because of some of the things I've been doing, and the cardio wasn't helping. So now you need to start looking at doing, albeit gentle, weightlifting. You need to start adding weights into your diet. You need to start, I had to eat a whole lot more, and that was scary. And so for me, I was starting to think about lifting weights. I like Dianne. I thought, oh no, I'm going to end up looking like the Michelin Man or something, you know, that's what I kept.
What's your favourite thing about you?
Oh, I'm strong as fuck.
And what do you have?
Muscles.
Yes.
Delts.
The amount of time that this woman spends in the gym looking at her own delts is ridiculous.
I know. And yet I would have hated that years ago.
So fast forward to now, is there still a little bit of that sits with you?
I think you've got to be honest with yourself and say it's an addiction. Yeah. Like every other addiction, it sits with you at all times. But I got better because I saw my eating disorder as a person. I used to visualise that as a person. Okay. So now I dislike her very much because she gave me years of misery despite me thinking I was happy.
She's a bitch.
She's a bitch. She took a lot of my early years.
She got kicked the fuck out of here. So you sent me what can only be described as a message that just made me greedy the other day, which talked about what you find from how we do things at Alpha. And what did you say on that?
So going back to the lady Sandra Daly from the medical side, when I had come in, you'd asked me to tell you all about myself, so I kind of, on the first visit, left that bit out.
You did.
And then when I came back the second time, you were talking to me about calories, and you'd said, no, you will be eating that amount of calories. I need to know where you're like, and I think. And I think I just maybe said to you, look, I've had issues in the past with eating, and it was, what do you mean? Not you're going to hide it by saying I've had issues. What exactly is it? And I said to you, I've got an eating disorder, and I can be a bit devious. I can also play the victim card a lot with that. And you said to me basically, well, I get it. I remember exactly the words you said. I get it. I understand most of it, but you will not. I will not tolerate those kind of fucking behaviours in this gym, because there was other people that I would have had an effect on. And you basically told me that if you saw me doing it, or you get an inkling that I was doing it, I wouldn't be allowed to come back. And I loved that gym so much that was a kind of wake up call for me, despite going down the road in a bad mood. Who does she think she's telling I'm not doing this?
He goes down the road in a bad mood a lot of the times with things that I said to her. But I think what I loved about that message is that we have taken the time to build that relationship. You were so open in it, and you said, you know, like, you're not scared to feel like you have to treat me with kid gloves all the time. No. It's not as if you need to be like, oh, be careful, say something bad to her and she'll go down and she'll make herself sick, or she just won't eat, or she'll do this or she'll do that. But the thing is I don't need to treat you like that now, because you're out the back of it is one thing in the main, but also you are a fucking strong ass woman.
I know
who can take facts.
Well, that was the thing. That's because in the past people would
between facts and emotions.
Yeah, in the past I've heard people saying, I wouldn't push her like that because it'll be your fault if she stops eating or whatever. And I think that was the thing for me. You weren't scared of the eating disorder. Most people are. most people are scared to set an expectation because, you know, in case they fail, they're going to blame me for that. Yeah. Correct. But the difference between you and the past is that the expectation was set in day one. I have to make expectations of myself as well, but you also had to set the expectation for you.
Yes.
And that you weren't going to accept or tolerate that kind of behaviour. And I think at one point you had said, because you can't manage me if you don't know.
Yes, exactly.
And so I had to be honest with you at all times. And in all honesty, I can hand in heart say I've never done it. I've never had those behaviours. And I would probably say in about the eating side of it in about at least 5-6 years. But in the last year, not even thoughts of it.
Absolutely.
And do you think that's because Vanda was prepared to talk about the great big elephant in the room right from day one?
Yeah.
You know,
because no one else was.
Had skittered round about
yeah,
it.
no one else was prepared to say. She was just the girl that even they didn't say had the eating disorder. That, you know, just don't push her. Just don't push her because she's got issues with stuff, and if you do it, you'll be the one that's to blame for that. And I used to smirk at that.
And I just think for me, from a coaching standpoint, at the end of the day, I don't coach you guys for straight up aesthetic. I don't coach you guys just to get stronger. I don't coach you guys just to run a marathon or a mile quicker or whatever it might be. Like, I want to coach you guys in a way that genuinely you can have a happy life in every facet of life. I want you guys to go shopping and feel like you can pick what you want. I want you guys to sit down in a restaurant with your pals and your family and be able to eat what you want without any word of guilt or feeling like you have to come in the next day and hammer out 2 sessions because I had pakora last night. Like, I want your guys' life to feel improved. Like, there's no point in being able to run the quickest marathon of your life if you're unhappy. There's no point in being a size 6 if you're unhappy. There's no point in being able to go and eat the biggest meal in the world if you feel guilty for it. Like, it has to be multifaceted.
It's like that. It's like this holistic approach, you know, and even to the point where sometimes you come in for PT, and I've done it, you know, and you come in for PT and you know there's something up and you'll say, right, you know, what's going on, let's talk about this. And you realise that actually a PT session's not what we need today. We need to do something else, and we need to talk, or we need to, you know, iron this out.
We need to realign. We've got something
and
else.
So you do get that holistic approach, whereas perhaps in the past you would just have gone on and battered in and done that session, and all that's just festering, and you actually don't get very much out of it.
Sitting in your brain, making you feel like a pile of shite. Yeah. And you leave, and you've moved your body, and you feel better for that. All the other stuff, all you've done is think about it every rep and every set. You know, it's not really helped anything. So you guys are a really big part of the community based on that. And I think part of it is that you guys have such a good relationship. A lot of the race that the guys see that. And the community element in Alpha is just second to none. I love everyone else in my industry, but fuck his mine's is the best. So why is the community, why is the pack so important to you guys?
I think it's because we do support each other, you know, and even although you don't meet everybody in the pack, you know, some of them come to classes, some of them don't, so you don't get to meet everybody, but that online virtual part of it, we support each other, we call each other out.
Oh, yes.
You know, so no bullshit. But we share knowledge, and when people are struggling, there's always somebody there, because I've struggled over, you know, certain things, and there's always somebody there, you know, to give you supportive words, or they reach out and share their knowledge.
Calories right now, and they're
scary calories. Yes, I mean, that day one when you said to me, "This will be your calories," I went, "Oh no, I don't need that amount of calories." And you know, losing weight on that amount of calories was amazing. But for the community and for the whole pack, having that support and that network, and all the different knowledge, you know, not just your knowledge, but the knowledge that the
everyone
brings. Clients have, that they bring. I'm cooking. I never ever cooked.
Never cooked in your life before, Dianne Martin. And I'm cooking. I know Kate's looking like that. What the fuck?
And who would have thought it? I mean, the women didn't even know how to make a baked potato a few years ago. I thought it had to be in the oven for about 8 hours there.
And this amazing pair done a High Rocks, guys, and I genuinely think that every single person watching this can take some serious inspiration from that. Apart from the fact that you guys done it. Kate got a rollicking because she lied to me. The one time she's lied to me and done it with a broken foot. But again, I think what was amazing about that is having the other guys standing on the other side of that barrier, screaming you on, that atmosphere, and watching you guys scream the other guys on, that level of community. You just, like, honestly, like, how did, when I was screaming the opposite to you because I was going to come over and lamp you, right, that's a different thing. But you're pushing that sled, you've got a broken foot, like, how did that feel knowing that the other guys were on the other side of that barrier?
It's the weirdest feeling ever, because, you know, you're going back to, for me personally, going back to years ago, fitness was just about the biggest load of crap ever. I think I was saying that would you call her, used to do the and squeeze and you would hands and that was your fit workout. Yeah. And now you look back and I had this broken toe and I was pushing this sledge and I could not feel that at all. I was just, you could hear people shouting our names and the
adrenaline
and the whole buzz of the place. I was like, God, I remember at one point, in fact, it's one of the pictures we're taking, I've got my hands on my hips. I know that at that point I was thinking, I am nearly 60 years of age and I'm doing more than some of them half my age in here. Amazing. And that, to bring it back to your question before, is because of the community that we've got in Alpha with Alpha. I'm trying to say, like, everybody as a whole.
Yeah, I don't think whole rather than the individual parts.
We've all got different personalities. That's what I was going to say. The personalities, but we all have a very, very similar want, not goal, but want for the community. Yeah. So all they wanted for us was to get round it.
I know, and it was the 2 days as well, because we went both days.
You did.
You know, you came to see the other guys.
We came to see the other guys, and there was no doubt in my mind that I would do that, because I wanted to go there and see these guys succeed. The same as they did for us on the Sunday. And it was, you know, that feeling going round that course, you know, and, you know, each element of it, and then another kilometre down, you know, when we got to the wall balls and I'm looking at the clock and we had our target in our heads that we wanted to achieve, and actually knowing that we were going to do that, the fatigue went.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
The adrenaline just surges and you just got to get to the end.
That's what I was trying to say. It didn't peter out. You know how sometimes you get to something, you're like, oh, I'm too tired, I just want this over and done with. Yeah. Now, despite having a sore foot. When we got to the...
We'll skip past the
description.
There's one description.
When we got to the end, we were euphoric still. We could have went round and done that again. Well, we could have went round and done that again.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
So, one of the things I'm going to ask every single person that sits in this seat is, since you have joined Alpha, what is the one thing that you would have always done before that you're now like, that can fuck right off from the rest of my life?
I think for me it would have been the fannying around.
Yep.
I'll get the results, but I don't have anybody checking up on me. So what I'll do is, she's told me to eat X amount of calories, I'll just cut that in half.
Yep.
So I'll just cut it in half and,
I'll get there quicker.
I'll get there before everybody else, and I'll just cut bread out. I know.
You can love a bit of tiger loaf.
I know, and my mine is sourdough. I'll tell everybody that I don't like, if I go for my dinner somewhere, I'll just say, no, I don't like potatoes. I do like potatoes, I just don't like chips. But I would say, no, I don't eat potatoes. I hate them. I've never really liked them. Yes. Or do you want some rice with you? No. Honestly, I don't really like the rice.
So basically, you're telling everybody that you would say, fuck off, stop taking carbs out your diet, and fuck off,
carbs
stop
are
not
delicious.
Following the plan.
Yes, carbs. I mean, you can have everything. That, you know what? I'll take this whole year and put it into. You can have everything in moderation.
Absolutely, Dianne.
I think it was for me this last year. What I've learned is not to allow other people to drive what I do.
Hear. Whoop.
Well done. How long's it taking you to say that?
Boundaries and expectations being set, my babe.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really difficult for me because I'm a people pleaser.
You are.
I want everybody to be happy. So I would
Try and please
sacrifice.
me.
But there's a big difference to sacrificing yourself.
Yeah,
for that.
I would sacrifice my own happiness, what I wanted to do, and my own goals to make somebody else happy. I refuse to do that now.
Amazing. I'm going to finish off with one line from each of you. If someone is sitting on the fence, they do not know what to do next, they've considered Alpha, what should they do?
Bloody reach out. Don't hold back.
And why?
Because you'll get results, you'll get a community, and you'll get a family that will support you.
Good. Kate, one last sentence.
I would say come and join us because it's fucking good fun.
I love that.
It is, honestly, it is Sunday Sweatfest. Don't let the word Sweatfest frighten you. But come and do it because no matter what, if you fall on your arse, there's 16, 20 people in that class picking you right back up again.
Amazing.
After they finish laughing at you. But it's good fun.
Thank you so much, guys. It's been amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your journeys. Thank you so much for letting people get a really good insight into you, why you joined, where you're at, and what comes next. And we will definitely see you two again.
You will. Thanks for being our coach.
Thank you.
Exactly.